Oh my! Did you see what Melania Trump wore for the Buckingham Palace state visit and the inappropriate, incorrect hat etiquette? Maria Masani, how do you do? I'm a certified image and color consultant, and I'm also certified in international diplomatic protocol and etiquette. So today we'll be discussing Mrs. Trump's faux pas. She's normally an excellent dresser, but she shocked everyone with her second term quiet quitting. And you know what? She has a point. In her first term, she tried so hard, and everyone just criticized her. No, people did not value her at all. She had an interview where she said she spent so much time for Christmas decorations she couldn't care less for, but she worked really hard. No one valued it. People were always critiquing. They were not complimenting her. They were not valuing her time and effort. And then she went to help kids, and then she said no matter what she does, people just trash her effort. So this time she doesn't care if the American public doesn't value her, which is fair. And also, with the Stormy Daniels affair, she felt that her husband might not also care, so she's not putting the same effort that's made her so iconic the first term. However, we can learn from her mistakes so that when we go abroad, or if we're in England, when we go to a proper function that's formal, we will show up in our best. Because those from old money families, this is not something that you read from a book. This is just how you grow up.
To believe.
Oh my
Donald, the aliens are abducting your wife. Send ice after them.
Oh my. But so we shall be starting with Melania's hat with which she greeted the Queen.
I thought it was a purple flying saucer. And I want...
Oh my. But you see, precisely it struck the wrong note. Aside from looking like a purple flying saucer abducting the First Lady of the United States by illegal aliens. Pun not intended, but there we go. I'm not sure this is the note that her husband wanted her to strike, but I don't think she cares at all. Anyway, if you were on a state visit, or let's say you were a philanthropist, right? And part of a charity, and they selected you to speak at an event, right? And let's say there's a member of the British royal family there, or you just have to wear hats. You're in England, you're presenting your organization or your brand, and you're there. What did Melania do wrong so that you don't make the same mistake? So first of all, it's the hat, right? This is not the correct way of wearing a hat. It's disrespectful because it doesn't show the eyebrows. Now, the correct way is if you have a finger between your eyebrow and your hat, right? That is correct. Also, hats are to the side, to the right. The reason hats are to the right is the gentleman is to your left. Therefore, you will not have this awkward encounters like you would see in the inauguration where Trump tried to kiss his wife while she was wearing one of her signature flying saucer hats, and boom, boom, right? It looked so awkward. Now, it looked deliberate, right? Because at the time there was all the Stormy Daniels affair, right? And the trial about this which highly upset Melania, right? Also, what upset Melania is she put so much effort as a first lady, and the public did not value it at all, right? And she said how much effort she put into the Christmas, and no one cared, and she didn't want to do the Christmas decorations at all, but someone had to do them. And then she went to help the children, and then people were attacking her and trolling her and saying, oh, she has no compassion. And she said she did not sign up for being a first lady. She had a wonderful, quiet, happy, soft life that got brutally interrupted. And she thinks that the public doesn't value her efforts, so she's dressed as the symbol of quiet quitting. I think her outfit with the hat being incorrect sent an excellent message correctly. So if you break the rules to send a message, this is correct, right? And shouldn't be on a diplomatic state visit unless you're planning to destroy relations with that country. However, it's perfectly correct, right? When she wanted to show Trump, excuse me, you had this affair with Stormy Daniels, and now you want me to work for free to be your first lady and put all this effort. I'm not doing it unless I'm paid. You know what? I go while I'm celebrated, and the first lady's office is not it. So if the public doesn't value me being there, and I don't feel valued, you have to pay me to do first lady duties, and I'll do the bare minimum, quiet quitting. When Melania wore her flying saucer hat the first time to hide her eyebrows, which is incorrect etiquette, she sent a message that Americans, she does not give a damn about you, because you don't give a damn about her. She is reflecting your energy, right? Because she puts so much effort and it's not valued. She goes where she's celebrated. That was the message. And the message was that if you attack her, if you try to defame her, if you attack her son, she will sue the hell out of you and hurt you. Her message, by covering her eyebrows and dressing in somber colors, was that she's not to be messed with. And she's very upset with how unfairly she has been treated when she put so much effort. So her hat etiquette would be correct if you want to say, I am breaking the rules to make a point when she went for the inauguration. However, when going to a royal or state visit, you know, if you're intending to break the rules, you should be intending to break diplomatic relations, right? And that was not what she was doing. That's why it looked peasant and cheap, okay? So her hat should be to the side so that people can see her. And it should be to the right. And probably you're viewing this as your left, but it is my right. The second problem is the black outfit. It's not her color, it's not her color season. So she wore purple to show respect to royalty, when really wearing a bright color in her season would show more respect. So Princess Catherine and Queen Camilla outshone our dear Melania. And they put so much effort because they were expecting some spectacle, because the first time she outshone everyone, putting so much effort. Since Camilla, Queen Camilla, wears blue as her signature color, then Melania should wear a bright color that's not a blue in Melania's season. So, on a state visit, or let's say you are giving a speech, or people are inviting you to speak, you should wear bright colors. Queen Elizabeth said she wore a bright color to be noticed. Now we all know Queen Camilla wears blue as her main color. I call it jackpot color or best color. Therefore, in deference to Queen Camilla, Melania should not wear blue. She wore yellow, which is excellent with yellow and blue, symbolizing the Ukrainian flag, and Prince Harry is in Ukraine. That was an excellent use of symbolism. However, when she first came, respect that matched the hat, and moving the hat to the side, or wearing something that shows eyebrow. Now, if you have a square jaw, like myself, larger hats look better. Now, the hats that Anna Bay wears with the small rim, these things do not suit women with a square jaw like myself. So I had plastic surgery, that's why it's not perfectly square, but because it's square-ish, it limits the hats that I can wear. So the ones with a very thin frame, that's, for example, I cannot wear fedoras. It's perfectly acceptable for ladies to wear hats indoors. Royals do wear hats during the day, before 6 in the evening, in public engagements, which is part of their social status, because wearing a tiara at that time is inappropriate, and it also highlights that they're members of the royal family, which it's easier to distinguish them. At an event, for example, children want to see a princess, they see the fascinator, they know, oh my goodness, it's a princess, but her wearing a tiara during the day is inappropriate, right? Diamonds in the evening, pearls during the day, right? Same goes with, you can wear hats, you can wear fascinators during the day, and yes, ladies can wear them indoors, as long as some places wearing a baseball cap indoors is not considered appropriate etiquette. And some places, it doesn't matter, but if you're going to a formal event, you should have a formal hat. So the color of what Melania wore was inappropriate, right? It's not wrong, but if you're trying to show your best to a host, wearing a bright color in your season like Queen Elizabeth does, or the dress that Princess Catherine wore in Burgundy, really brought her out. And Trump said, wow, Catherine, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. So my parents taught me that putting an effort into my appearance is a form of respect to others. It brings joy to other people to see beauty in this world. So when you go on a state visit or a business trip with your husband, right, or you're a business lady, and you are there for people to see you, it makes a difference if you also show that you're happy to see people by showing your eyebrows, right? Even if you have a hijab, you can show your eyebrows. This is a sign of respect, that you're not hiding, you're not shy, you're happy to meet people. If you're there as a head of state or representing a company and so on, right? Now, if you're wearing niqab, it's different, but if you're wearing hijab, right, even as a Muslim, you know your hijab shows your eyebrows, right? So this is important to create respect and trust, right? That I trust you, you trust me, because hiding behind a hat can seem rather shady. Pun not intended. So in etiquette, the principal wears bright color and the help wears neutrals. And why is that? Because when you're giving a public speech, people should be able to see you from a distance. This is respecting your audience. My mother was an interpreter for various prime ministers, and also interpreter in the United Nations. And as an interpreter, because she was the background and the help, she would wear neutrals, right? This is not what Melania is supposed to be doing. And the beige shades do not suit Melania because she's cool-toned, so she's just dressed inappropriately, right? As the help, making as minimum effort as possible. Stay home. If you don't want to go there, stay home. Of course, her husband was enchanted with Princess Catherine, who put so much effort in all her outfits and all her clothes, because this was a state visit, and she wanted to show respect for her guest, because the United Kingdom and King Charles, he cares about the situation in Ukraine, the war in Europe, the tariffs and all these. There are so many issues that are important to the United Kingdom, and King Charles represents them as the head of state, right? And he represents the parliament, right? The parliament creates the law, and the chief diplomat of the United Kingdom would be the king. They have a constitutional monarchy. Now, so therefore, the royal family put their best effort to roll the red carpet for President Donald Trump. Why? Because they want to negotiate the best deal possible. It's sad and unfortunate that First Lady Melania did not reciprocate, but at least Tiffany Trump, who attended the state dinner, did, and dressed lovely in a blue gown. Princess Catherine's outfits were spectacular. First of all, the burgundy one, the evening where she had the gorgeous golden lace, Chantilly lace gown, was utterly spectacular in the behind-the-scenes photos. Her hair now, because it was the incorrect shade, right? They dyed it all blonde, and it aged her look tacky. Now they did a balayage where the ends of her hair are blonde, but close to her face she's a brunette with streaks, which is utterly perfect. And it goes so beautifully against that burgundy. Absolutely ideal. It's so important to hire etiquette experts and color consultants when you travel on such an important visit, so that you send the right message. That is the difference between old and new money. And you can clearly see that Melania is new money because of the flying saucer hat. It was not appropriate. Whereas someone old money who goes on a business trip, let's say, they will hire an etiquette consultant and stylist to make sure that they dress appropriately. They'll hire someone like myself. In some countries, you'd think as a lady you can wear white, you can wear a white suit. But in some countries, this will be interpreted as a funeral suit and an insult. In fact, there are times where dressing the wrong way has destroyed relationships. For example, Canada's former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So his infamous India trip was a disaster because, much like Melania, who didn't listen to etiquette consultants about her hat, Justin Trudeau thought he was stylish enough and knew so much about multiculturalism, he did not listen to his Ministry of Foreign Affairs, right? So he went with his Foreign Affairs Minister at the time, and they went to a gala, and she wore a red sari, not knowing this is a bridal dress and he's already married. So it's as if he's coming out with his affair partner and announcing that she's his second wife at an Indian reception. And he wore the clothing he didn't realize were the clothing of an Indian bridegroom. So people thought that they were laughing at India, and journalists were highly offended. Everyone wrote things in the papers. And it got worse. Justin Trudeau did not listen to his diplomatic staff because he thought he knew better. He's so fabulous, right? Well, in the beginning, right, he's an attractive gentleman who is well traveled, so people gave him the benefit of the doubt, pretty privilege. But you still need to understand proper etiquette. So Indians were highly offended by this cultural appropriation, and they thought that Justin Trudeau was mocking them when he wasn't, and he was just trying to please, the Indian government and Indian officials he was meeting at the gala to improve Canada-India relations, and didn't realize he was making a giant faux pas. And then at the party, he invited some of his friends, one of which he didn't realize and didn't vet was on the terrorist list of India, and that destroyed Canada-India relations for years. And finally we have a new Prime Minister who's working really hard to try to rebuild Canada-India relations, and it will take a very long time to mend this rift that was caused and started with a wrong choice of dress and a Prime Minister who refused to listen to etiquette experts and instead preferred to take his own advice. And if Melania is listening, I hope she heard of the story of Justin Trudeau in India and does not repeat this and hires an expert. And this is actually, I was talking to my mother about the difference between, the Nouveau style versus old money, and she said, what, old money you can tell, right? And I said, the reason is, look at your childhood. I said, what about my childhood? She said, as soon as you became a teenager, we got you makeup artist lessons, we got you a stylist, right? Got you another stylist, more makeup artist lessons, hairstyling lessons, image consulting more than once, right? Eventually I became an image consultant myself. But, old money will go to a stylist, will go to an etiquette expert, because they know that they're not an expert in everything. In fact, one thing you will hear from old money is that they're not an expert in cooking. When you see a beautiful dish, you should be a chef. That's a faux pas. The response would be, because one lady I saw said that, and the gentleman said, of course I won't be a good chef, because I don't cook all day. Chefs spend all their time cooking. Therefore, they make the best food. Also, grandmothers and so on, women who are cooking all the time, or a chef, even better, who's spending all the time in the kitchen, all this experience would make a chef a far better cook than I ever would with my talent. Right? So that's something to note, right? Ladies, the difference between actually looking posh is hiring an image consultant, right? Hiring an etiquette consultant if you have to go to an event you're unfamiliar with. I'm not doing this to advertise my services, because you can easily find someone else, right? It's not just me, but the elite, they don't leave things to chance that are so important and think, oh my goodness, I know how to do everything. Aristocracy knows to hire experts in areas that they themselves don't have training in. Because what I learned is, with makeup, I can do some tutorials, but I had to take classes to learn how to use the brushes properly. And let me tell you, it makes such a difference to take classes. It makes such a difference to know what suits you, to have clothes that fit you, instead of buying a copy of the latest fashion in Shein and then spending all that money on a designer bag too, thinking that the logo will make you look expensive. Or another problem, new many ladies, they will buy things from Dior, thinking, oh, if it's Dior. Very much like Anabe's Dior wedding dress. This is what Melania's dress reminded me. Many new money ladies make the same mistake like Anabe during her wedding, thinking that just buying something off the rack from Dior will solve all your fashion problems and make you look devastatingly elegant. This is not true, right? It's taste that makes you elegant. So Melania Trump's Dior suit was poorly fitted, and had she asked her friend from Oscar de la Renta or from anywhere to make a custom suit, get a suit and have it fitted for her, then she would look far more elegant and beautiful. Buying something poorly fitting off the rack because it's designer is a common new money mistake. Because Melania is a cool tone and a lighter color season, because she dyed her hair lighter as a blonde, black is too harsh on her. Melania is a true summer. Maybe sometimes the way she dyes her hair, depending, it could even be a soft summer, depending, but usually a true summer. Now, true summers, black is too harsh on them. Princess Catherine is a cool summer. Both Melania and Princess Catherine are summers, and especially on Melania, black is too harsh, and she should not be wearing things that dark. And notice Princess Catherine wanted to wear something dark, so she wore something in a beautiful, lush, rich, cool burgundy, and it offset her hair beautifully, right? That's why Princess Catherine looked aristocratic, and Donald Trump kept being amazed. Wow, you're so beautiful, you're so beautiful. So she looked aristocratic because she looked like she had a stylist and a color consultant and also a couturier fit everything custom. Luxury is custom. Remember that hideous hair color that she had before. She wanted to go blonde, so after the backlash of hair amateur art, immediately she corrected it in a balayage that close to her face is brown with streaks and is blonde going down. So that burgundy complemented the gold in the bottom of her hair perfectly, while it also complemented the brown notes in her hair close to her face and her cool skin. Just perfect, right? And everything was sewn to her body type, right? It was sewn to her body. So the clothes were sewn for her, custom. But you can achieve this effect for less by having your clothes altered. One thing though I recommend against being altered is shoulders. It has to sit correctly at your shoulders. The rest is easy to alter. Shoulders can be almost impossible, or by the time they have so many alterations, it's far too expensive and it will not look as good. So if the shoulders are not sitting lovely on you, get something else, right? Shoulders are very hard, shoulders, neckline, etc. to fix. So if it gapes or anything like this, don't do that, okay? But if it's very wide here, it's easy to nip things at the waist, even if it's a blazer. If the issue is at the waist, that's perfect, but the shoulders should suit you. So Melania's evening dress was correct protocol. It was lovely, the color she chose. I thought the belt was a neutral color and I thought that was excellent. However, up close it turned out to be some light lilac, which clashes because it's a light muted pastel clashing with a bright color. Don't mix colors like that. Hire a professional consultant. Melania used to secretly rely on a friend at Oscar de la Renta who had professional training. This is why I recommend hiring a professional to do professional work, because we are trained in color theory. We are trained in everything. I'm trained in how to sew, and I'm also trained in protocol and etiquette. Don't leave your most important moments to chance. Comment below on what you think of Melania's clothing in the first versus second term, which one do you like more, her first Buckingham Palace visit or second? And please also comment below if you want more Melania content. I admire her so much as a person. I am so sad about the way the Buckingham Palace visit went. I adore Melania. But again, I understand she's quite quitting and I support her. And but if you're not quite quitting and want to show your best, you know, there are certain other things you don't do. And this is, she showed up to a school in a hideous beige outfit. Absolute horror, right? Kids love bright colors and they want to see a princess. So if you're going to a school, please care about the children and wear a bright color in your color season. So the Queen wore white, which is perfectly acceptable because it's still bright and children still enjoy it. So if I were Melania, I would have stayed away from blue because I know that Queen Camilla wears it the most, and probably would have worn, you know, a yellow outfit to complement the Queen, or I would have worn a beautiful light purple color, or green suits Melania beautifully, right? There are so many colors that flatter Melania. And I would have worn one of them instead of all this ugly, I am not happy to be here beige. The beige rage showed Melania's outrage of being dragged into a state visit, and I felt sorry for the children. I did like how, you know, expensive the outfit looked, but on someone else in a different color. So if you have an important date, don't dress like Melania dressed. She's dressing in protest. Instead, you can look at what Princess Catherine wore. Or if you're older, maybe what the Queen wore. Those definitely were more flattering, and we can see the difference between old money and new money in clothes and hair, etc. That old money knows that if they didn't go to school, right, to learn color theory, to learn everything on image, they're better off hiring a professional than do it yourself with TikTok and YouTube videos. Sure, you can listen, I do give tips here and there on my TikTok videos, yet it's not the same as a professional consultation. I can tell you to wear your best color, videos on this, and but you know, you will have a couple colors in a neutral, and you will not be able to enjoy the full wardrobe, right? You will be better off, yes, but you are worth investing in, and instead of buying a handbag, it's much better to buy an image consultation. So who looked more expensive, Princess Catherine or Melania, right? Who looked more expensive? Even Queen Camilla outshone Melania, and she's not known to be a famous dresser, right? So, and why? So the old money aristocrat ladies listen to professional advice, and that's why they looked so expensive without wearing a single logo, whereas Melania's wardrobe might actually cost more and be more expensive, but it looked cheap. The whole visit, it looked cheap. It looked like middle-class fashion magazine advice that, I don't know, makes you look less bad or something. So, what do you think happened to Melania? I do admire her strategy and I admire her wardrobe in the first term, which was elegant. If you want more videos about Melania, please comment below. And say if you want to hear more about her strategies, leveling up, social skills, or her wardrobe, please do write that in the comments. Please like, share or subscribe and comment below. Ciao!